Students, welcome on PARAVET digital platform. Today we are discussing the remaining portion of previous lecture, means blood. What is blood? Blood is liquid connective tissue having the pH of 7.4, means slightly alkaline in nature. Blood is the softest tissue of the body and mainly made up of liquid portion and blood corpuscles. Liquid portion is known as plasma, and the corpuscles, blood corpuscles are of three types, which is about 45%, and plasma is about 55% of total blood volume. In a adult animal body, blood having the volume 7 to 8% of total body weight, means volume having 30 liter approximately in 400 kilogram cow, and in human 70 kg men having about 5 liter of blood. In blood, the portion of plasma having 92% of water, blood having 82% of water, and uh, the remaining portion means 8% of plasma is made up of solid portion, which is divided in two types of solids, means one is organic solid and another is an inorganic solid portion. Inorganic solid portion is made up of many ions like sodium, potassium, phosphate, sulfate, iron, and bicarbonate also. These types of ions makes the inorganic portion of plasma, which is 1% in amount, and the another portion means 7% organic portion includes many proteins, which is known as plasma proteins like albumin, globulin, fibrinogen, transferrin, carbohydrate, which is blood glucose, uh, and hormones, enzymes, and other organic substances are also included in that portion. We have studied that plasma having extra color due to bilirubin and carotene pigments, and horse plasma is dark in color due to great concentration of these pigments, more amount of these pigments. Plasma is the liquid portion having more water than blood. Blood having 82% of water, but plasma having 92% of water by proportion. It's a percentage. Now we have studied about RBC. The formation of blood is called hemat- hemopoiesis, and formation of RBC called erythropoiesis. RBC, because of red in color, so RBC is also known as erythrocyte. And RBC of mammals having no nucleus, but exception is camel and llama having nucleus in their RBCs, and RBC lacks their nucleus, or nucleus of RBC disappears in their developmental stage called reticulocyte. At the time of formation of reticulocyte, nucleus of RBC disappears, means in the early stages RBC having nucleus. No doubt the birds having nucleus in their RBCs, and camels RBC can change its volume, increase its volume about 240 times, 240 100%, means 2.5 times than its normal size. RBC having the average size of 7.3 to 7.5 micrometer, but it can penetrates, it can passes through a capillary having 5 micron in diameter because of its nature of shrinkage. RBC having a uh, pigment known as hemoglobin. Due to hemoglobin, RBC is red in color and blood is also red in color. The remaining points of RBC we are discussing, increase in number, we have discussed above the normal, known as polycythemia, below the normal number, known as oligocythemia, and a decrease in number of RBC known as anemia. Decrease, decrease in number of RBC known as anemia. Anemia means great decrease in RBC. Anemia, we can say it is a condition of lack of blood, lack of RBC, lack of hemoglobin, all of these known as anemia. Anemia is are of many types, like sickle cell anemia. Example is sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia, in which RBC changes its shape and forms sickle like structure. What occurs in this type of anemia? We know spleen is the graveyard of RBC. Spleen is the graveyard of RBC. Means RBC of abnormal shape and size are destroyed in spleen. So spleen is known as graveyard of RBC. After destroying these RBCs, hemoglobin and many pigments uh, comes from this RBC, like bilirubin, like urochrome, and other pigments of body comes from RBCs, because RBC are continue destroying in spleen. And if shape and size means, if RBC having less size from average size, like RBC 1 micron, 2 micron, 3 micron, these type of RBC destroyed. And this type of anemia, known as microcytic anemia, if RBC increases its size than normal, means macrocyte forms, and in the condition of macrocytes, these RBCs are destroyed in spleen. And if anemia occurs due to destruction of these type of RBC, which is known as macrocytic anemia. One type of of anemia is also pernicious anemia, which is due to deficiency of vitamin B12. Means cyanocobalamin deficiency, vitamin B12 deficiency leads to pernicious anemia. Pernicious anemia. And in other words, we can say vitamin B12 or cyanocobalamin is essential for the maturation of RBC. For the maturation of RBC, vitamin B12 is essential. Vitamin B12 having cobalt metal in its nucleus. Now, if RBC changes its shape, then what is the term used for RBC? Change in shape. Change in shape called poikilocytosis. And change in size, known as anisocytosis. Anisocytosis. Now, lifespan of RBC. Lifespan of RBC. In a man, dog, pig, RBC having lifespan of 100 to 120 days approximately. Uh, and in ruminants, ruminants like in cattle, RBC having lifespan of 145 to 160 days, means uh, more than these animals. Yes, this is also tailless animal. Now, horse having lifespan of RBC from 140 to 150 days, and sheep goat, sheep and goat having 135 to 135 to 160 days. And in poultry or fowl, RBC have lifespan of 30 to 40 days, means average of this 35 days. What is important question arises from these datas? Important question is poultry or in birds RBC having less lifespan than other animals and the other domestic animals. 30 to 40 days lifespan. It is very less than other animals. Means RBC having lifespan of about 4 months. But if RBC changes its shape and size, then it is destroyed in spleen. So anemia occurs if continuously destroying of RBC or destruction of RBC occurs. Now RBC we have completed. Next blood corpuscle is WBC. WBC. WBC is also known as having full form white blood corpuscles. WBC means white blood corpuscles, also known as leukocytes. Leukocytes. And the formation of WBC is known as leukopoiesis. Leukopoiesis. What is leukopoiesis? The formation of WBC known as leukopoiesis. What are leukocytes? Leuko word means white. Leuko is Latin word like leukoxanthin, a disease in females, leukorrhea, leuko means white. So, so the name white in the Latin it is known as leuco, and due to leuco word, these blood corpuscles are known as leukocytes. Now, if increase in WBC number, it is known as leukocytosis. Leukocytosis. If WBC increases in great amount, it this condition known as leukemia. Leukemia is also known as blood cancer. And the number of WBC increases very much amount. It is known as leukemia. And the other term, leukopenia. What is leukopenia? Penia means deficiency. Penia means deficiency. So leukopenia is decrease in number of WBC. It is known as leukopenia because WBC protects body from infections. They phagocyte. They are phagocytic in nature. Mostly WBC are phagocytic in nature. In other words, we can say they are the soldiers of body. They are the soldiers of body because they protects body from infections. They engulfs bacteria, they kills bacteria, they destroys the pathogenic organisms. Now WBCs are further classified in two groups. One is granulocyte, granulocyte, and other is agranulocyte, agranulocyte. Why we have classified these uh, type? Because of nucleus. On the basis of nucleus, WBC is divided in two groups, granulocyte and agranulocyte. Granulocyte means these WBCs having granules in their cytoplasm or granular structure of their nucleus on the basis of on the basis of nucleus. Now these granulocytes are further divided in three types or three portions. One is acidophils. Second, these acidophils are also known as eosinophils. Eosinophils. Second is basophils. And the third is neutrophils. Now, agranulocytes are further divided into two portions or two types of agranulocytes. One is lymphocytes and another is monocytes. Another is monocytes. Now we are making the structure of these different WBCs, and mainly difference is there. Their nucleus is of different shapes and different structures. So we are making their structures. At first, we are making all WBC cell membrane. This is largest WBC. Monocyte is the largest among all WBCs. Now, the acidophils having bilobed nucleus means acidophils are also known as eosinophils having bilobed nucleus in their structure. Basophils having a nucleus like this means basophils having, I am erasing this, making from different color means basophils having the S shape or kidney shape or bean shape nucleus. Now third, neutrophil. Neutrophil having their nucleus divided in 2 to 7 lobes. Here we are making 4 lobes. Neutrophils are stained by neutral dyes. These are stained by basic dyes. These are stained by acidic dyes. Now lymphocytes, the maximum portion of lymphocytes having their nucleus means nucleus of lymphocyte is large than in the proportion of their cell, and many part of cytoplasm is covered by their nucleus means nucleus is greater or large. Now the last is monocyte, and monocyte having their nucleus like horseshoe shape, like horseshoe shape. Monocytes are the largest WBC. Now we are discussing all of these WBC in snapshot manner. Acidophils. Acidophils are of least in less in number 1 to 4%. Basophils are of about 0.5% of total WBC, and neutrophils are of 65%. Lymphocytes are 30 percent in number. What is the importance of acidophils? Acidophils or eosinophils are the WBCs. They increases their number in allergic conditions, parasitic infestations, and the increase in number of acidophils known as acidophilia or also known as eosinophilia. Acidophils are stained by acidic stains or eosins. Acidophils are a type of granulocytes. These acidophils are related to allergic reactions. If allergic reactions persist or occurs, the increase the number of acidophils or eosinophils increases. Now, what is the importance of basophils? Basophils are second type of granulocyte WBC having kidney shape, kidney shape, or we can say S shape. Also in some books, S shape and pin shape nucleus in their structure. Basophils are the blood cells having least in number. Increase in number of basophils known as basophilia, decrease in number of basophils known as basopenia. And in cancerous conditions, uh, this type of corpuscles increases in number. Basophils in mast cells, also known as basophils in connective tissue, also known as mast cells, because mast cells also having the structure like basophils. Basophils occurs in blood and secretes heparin. Heparin is a type of anticoagulant which is also chemically a polysaccharide in nature. Heparin protects, heparin prevents blood for coagulation in blood vessels. Means heparin is natural anticoagulant which smoothens the flowing of blood in blood vessels. Basophils, the blood corpuscles in connective tissue, these are known as mast cells, uh, where they secretes heparin in greater quantity. Both basophils and mast cells secretes both the chemicals heparin and histamine. But in blood, basophils secretes great heparin and less histamine. And in connective tissue, mast cells secretes great histamine and less heparin. But both of chemicals secreted by these corpuscles. So increase in number basophilia, decrease in number basopenia. Now neutrophils. What are neutrophils? Neutrophils having in nucleus 2 to 7 lobed nucleus, and in birds neutrophils are also known as heterophils. In birds these are also known as heterophils. Neutrophils having a rod like structure in their cytoplasm. This is known as bar body, and bar body occurs only in female neutrophils. So bar body is responsible for the uh, determination of sex. Means male, if male having the oh, allosomes means sex chromosomes in this type or this uh, form, having no bar body in their neutrophil. If men having this type of chromosomal structure means allosomes having XXY, then this type of male suffering from Klinefelter syndrome having one bar body, means the formula to detect bar body is a number of X chromosomes minus 1, means females having two X chromosomes. So the number of bar body is one, and a male, general male means no diseased, no chromosomal aberration. Uh, this type of male having no bar body means neutrophils are the blood cells by which we can say this is female, this is male, means having the property of sex determination. Neutrophils are the blood cells or the WBCs. Sorry, WBCs. Among all blood cells, RBC are great in number. Topmost is RBC. Among WBCs, neutrophils are of 65% of total WBCs. Neutrophils increases their number in pus forming infection. Important point is there. If we uh, performs CBC, CBC means complete blood count. An animal or a person suffering from any disease, at first we should done the complete blood count. Some blood cells, if increases, if decreases, or many parameters of blood decreases, increases, they indicate some type of diseases, and EG diagnosis is done on the basis of CBC report. So, if in the body or after blood examination, uh, the increase in neutrophil number, there may be first forming infection, because neutrophils increases in first forming infection. Now, the another type of WC is agranulocyte, means their cytoplasm having no granules. Neutrophils are stained by neutral dyes. Now, agranulocytes are of two types, lymphocytes and monocytes. As I told, lymphocytes having large nucleus, and it covers most of the proportion of cytoplasm. Lymphocytes are further divided in two parts. First is B lymphocyte, second is T lymphocyte. What is the difference between B and T lymphocytes? Both the lymphocyte arises from bone marrow, but maturation place is different. The B lymphocyte maturation occurs in bone marrow, and a T lymphocyte maturation occurs in thymus gland. Thymus, a gland which is present in a side of heart, and in old animals, thymus decreases its shape or its size, and it continuously regresses its size, and later it's about to destroy. Now, in which infection lymphocytes increases? In viral infection, lymphocyte increases. Increase in number of lymphocyte known as lymphocytosis, decrease in number of lymphocytes known as lymphocytopenia. And then now monocytes are the WBCs having the property of scavenging or scavenger WBC, means they cleanse blood. The size of monocytes among the all WBCs great in size. Monocytes having cleaning function of blood, and monocyte increases their number in chronic infections like TB, tuberculosis. If we detect TB by CBC, then number of monocytes increases in this disease. If we perform CBC, and in paratuberculosis, which is also known as Jones disease, monocytes increases their number. Means chronic infections, monocytes increases their nucleus is of horseshoe shape, and the tendency to phagocyte more or more bacteria, more or more structures, means maximum phagocytic nature, or are these type of cells having property of great phagocytic property. Neutrophils if increases, uh, this condition known as neutrophilia. If decreases, this condition known as neutropenia. Means we have completed these WBCs. One term is also monocytosis. What is monocytosis? If monocytes increases their number from normal. Now we are studying how many WBCs present in blood. So WBCs are about 6,000 to 11,000 in number per ml of blood. And other thing, lifespan of WBC. Listen, WBC having no fixed lifespan. 2 to 30 days, 2 to 10 days is better in among all the datas. 2 to 10 days is better. Lifespan 10 days, because WBC having no fixed lifespan, because it's many types. Uh, some WBC, when the phagocytosis uh, activity uh, performs, the lifespan decreases. Now, leukopoiesis is the formation of a WBC, like hematopoiesis or hemopoiesis, like erythropoiesis. Leukopoiesis is the formation of WBC, and formation of WBC also occurs in bone marrow. WBC, maximum WBC, phagocytic nature, but was these diagrams, and I am writing here. Acidophils are phagocytic nature, basophils are non-phagocytic in nature, neutrophils are phagocytic in nature, lymphocytes are non-phagocytic in nature, monocytes are greatly phagocytic in nature. Means phagocytic, non-phagocytic, phagocytic, non-phagocytic, and last is more phagocytic. Now lymphocytes, how lymphocytes protects the body? How lymphocytes protect the body? As I told, lymphocytes are of two types. One is B lymphocytes and another is T lymphocytes. B lymphocytes, these lymphocytes makes antibody, and antibody is a type of gamma globulin and also glycoprotein in nature. These are immunoglobulins which destroys the bacteria. Means this is advanced type of protection from microorganisms or pathogens. T lymphocytes. What is the function of T lymphocytes? They secrete some type of cytokines or known as leukotrienes or lymphokines, mainly lymphokines. These lymphokines are the chemicals which kills the bacteria. So T lymphocytes makes a immunity which is known as cellular immunity, and B lymphocyte makes a immunity which is known as humoral immunity, because it makes antibodies. The maximum antibody molecules are formed by B lymphocytes, but the most efficient cell for the production of antibody is plasma cell, which occurs in connective tissue. So we have completed WBC. In next lecture, we will study platelets. Thanks for watching the video.